because I did not yield the golden hairpin sent by my grandmother to my foster sister. My elder brother broke into the ladies' banquet. And in front of all the noble ladies and madams, he said, "I am jealous, petty, and do not know how to cherish my sister." He said that Jiang Rumo lost her mother at a young age, and since she is being fostered in the Dao family, she is already pitiful enough. As the legitimate daughter, I have everything, yet I refuse to yield even a single golden hairpin. I truly lack the decorum of a noble lady. He originally thought that those words, once spread, would ruin my reputation, and also vent some anger on behalf of Jiang Rumo. But he did not expect that the ladies present would not point fingers at me, but instead his own fiancée, Princess Yuzhou, turned cold-faced on the spot. Princess Yuzhou is the daughter of the Grand Princess, possessing a noble status, and she has always been straightforward by nature. She slammed her teacup back onto the table and said coldly, "Dao Ruwai, today you can openly rebuke your own sister for a foster sister. Tomorrow, when I marry into the Dao family, must I also yield to her in everything? My dowry, my jewelry, and my dignity must all depend on her mood? As a princess, I cannot afford to eat the bread of dependence in your Dao household." The entire banquet of ladies fell silent. Then some covered their lips with their fans and laughed in low voices. To humiliate one's own sister for a foster sister, that is truly not what an elder brother should do. If he can use his own sister's reputation as a tool for vengeance, then such a person, once he has his own household, likely won't be able to uphold his family's honor either. No matter how pitiful a foster sister is, there is no reason to overstep the legitimate daughter. The faces of Dao Ruwai and Jiang Rumo turned pale in an instant. They thought I would be the one whose reputation was ruined, not realizing that the ones truly being gossiped about were themselves. Since that day, Dao Ruwai and Jiang Rumo became the laughingstock of the capital. Princess Yuzhou called off the engagement in public, and those who were discussing marriage with the Dao family gradually stopped sending word. Mother at first refused to believe it, and asked several matchmakers for information. When the matchmaker came, she spoke tactfully, yet every word was heart-wrenching. "Madam, the eldest son is young, and has already entered the officialdom. His future was initially very promising, but now the entire capital knows that the eldest son, for the sake of a foster sister, did not hesitate to rebuke his own sister at a ladies' banquet. With such conduct, others inevitably feel that the eldest son does not distinguish between kin and outsiders, and handles matters unsteadily." Mother's face turned pale. "Then what about Rumo?" The matchmaker sighed. "Miss Zhang is in an even more difficult position. She is a cousin being fostered in the Dao family. Her status was already awkward to begin with, and now she is embroiled in these rumors along with the eldest son. Even if they are innocent, the outside talk is far from pleasant. Good families say that the thing they fear most in marriage is this kind of unclear trouble." Mother clutched her chest, unable to speak for a long while. Seeing her distress, the matchmaker softened her tone. As for the eldest daughter, however, many are still asking about her. Mother was stunned. "Is Ruxiang's marriage unaffected?" The matchmaker smiled. "Madam, you jest." The eldest daughter was merely unwilling to give up the golden hairpin personally bestowed by her grandmother. A young girl cherishing the intentions of her elders is not a great mistake. Moreover, for these years in the manor, the way the eldest son and Miss Zhang have been so close, the eldest daughter has never said a word about it outside, already showing great consideration for the family's reputation. Noble families selecting a daughter-in-law fear instability the most, and the airing of dirty laundry. The fact that the eldest daughter could endure until today actually shows she has great composure. After hearing this, Mother's expression became increasingly complex. I stood behind the screen, hearing every word clearly. Mother finally realized that her years of partiality toward Jiang Rumo had not only hurt me, her own daughter, but had also harmed Dao Ruwai. Just as she was about to call for Dao Ruwai and Jiang Rumo, Father returned in a fit of rage. Father's face was terrifyingly dark as he entered. Mother hurried to greet him. "Husband, what is the matter?" Father did not look at her and only asked, "Where is Dao Ruwai?" Mother felt a panic in her heart and hurriedly sent someone to fetch him. I also walked out from behind the screen and bowed to Father. "Greetings, Father." Father glanced at me, his expression complicated. He was silent for a moment, then suddenly asked me, "At the banquet that day, why didn't you stop your brother?" I lowered my eyes to hide the coldness within. Always like this. In this house, whatever happens, the blame always finds its way back to me. When Dao Ruwai takes my things, Mother urges me to be generous. When Jiang Rumo cries, father says she lost her support at a young age and tells me to be more understanding. Now that Dao Ruwei has caused this trouble himself, father's first words are still asking why I didn't stop him. I looked up at him calmly. Brother wanted to ruin my reputation at the banquet. He did not tell me beforehand. I was unaware. How could I have stopped him? Father was choked by my question. Just then, Dao Ruwei rushed over. Father slammed the teacup on the table onto the floor, and porcelain shattered everywhere. Dao Ruwei was so frightened by the noise that he knelt down. Father pointed at him, so angry his hand was trembling. Do you know what good deed you have done? Dao Ruwei lowered his head, still unconvinced. Son was only lecturing Ruxi to stop her from bullying Rumo. Father laughed out of anger. Lecturing, you, a man, breaking into a ladies' banquet, publicly speaking ill of your own sister. You think you were ruining her reputation? You were ruining yourself. Dao Ruwei's face changed. Father closed his eyes, his tone heavy as if weighted by stones. The position of vice director in the Ministry of Works. I had already arranged it for you. Waiting only for the official document, you would have been promoted to the 5th rank. But today, the Minister of Works told me personally that the position of prefectural judge in Yangzhou is vacant, and they have already chosen you. Dao Ruwei looked up sharply. Yangzhou prefectural judge, father. Was it not said that I would remain in the capital to be promoted to vice director? Father said coldly. You caused such a scene in public. Princess Yuzhou called off the engagement. The Grand Princess went to the palace to mention this to the Empress. Although the Emperor did not explicitly say it, he already knows you behave inappropriately and cannot distinguish kin from outsiders. A person who cannot even manage his own family affairs. Who would dare entrust him with important responsibilities? The blood drained from Dao Ruwei's face. Being sent away from the capital, though the rank remains the same. In reality, one is far from the center of power in the capital. If one has no achievements in the new post, it will be difficult to ever return to the capital again. He knelt on the ground and muttered. Impossible. My relationship with Rumo is only that of a brother and sister. What does it have to do with me if outsiders misunderstand? Is she your own sister? Dao Ruwei was speechless. Father looked at mother, his eyes finally filled with resentment. I should never have agreed to bring Jiang Rumo into the house in the first place. And I should not have turned a blind eye every time you pampered her and wronged Ruxiang. And now, look what has happened. She has ruined Ruwei's engagement and destroyed his future. Mother's face was deathly pale. She wanted to defend Jiang Rumo, but could not utter a single word. Father said coldly, send Jiang Rumo back to the Jiang family. The Dao family can no longer afford to raise her. Mother dared not stop him anymore. Her only son's future had been damaged. And if she protected Jiang Rumo now, it would only be adding fuel to the fire. But Dao Ruwei still refused. Father Rumo has done no wrong. The Jiang family has already fallen. She will suffer if she goes back. Father sneered. You still have the energy to worry about her. You should worry about yourself first. Dao Ruwei turned to look at me, resentment suddenly igniting in his eyes. Dao Ruxiang, are you satisfied now? Rumo is being sent away, and I am being sent away from the capital. From now on, the Dao family will only have you as a daughter. No one will compete with you anymore. Are you very pleased with yourself? I looked at him, finding it only ridiculous. Elder brother, all of this is of your own doing. If you had not caused trouble at the banquet, attempting to ruin my reputation, how would you have ended up in this situation today? Dao Ruwei gritted his teeth. If you hadn't competed with Rumo over everything, why would I have had to stand up for her? I gave a light laugh. Is it really I who competes with her? Or is it you who help her steal my things? After Jiang Rumo entered the house, mother pitied her for losing her mother young. The fine fabrics in the house, the stationery, the jewelry, the rare toys, were always sent to her first. You, as the elder brother, always put her first in everything too. If they were only your own things, and you wanted to give them to her, I would have nothing to say. But my things, as long as she wanted them, you would force me to give them up. I looked at Dao Ruwei. The golden hairpin grandmother sent me. Clearly stated it was for me. She cried a little, and you brought her over to demand it. When I refused, you ruined my reputation at the banquet. Elder brother, you keep saying you are educating me. But by what right do you educate me? Dao Ruwei's expression was ugly. Mother could not help but speak up. Ruxiang, he is your own brother after all. I looked at mother. If he considered me his own sister, He would not have ruined my reputation in public for the sake of Jiang Rumo. Mother, it is the same for you. If you consider me your own daughter, you would not always ask me to yield. Mother opened her mouth, but could not find a rebuttal. I continued. You always say Jiang Rumo is pitiful, but am I not pitiful too? My biological mother is still here, but she holds another person's daughter and tells me to be generous. My own brother is here too, but he takes my things and calls me petty. In this house, I clearly have everything, but it is as if I have nothing. The room was dead silent. Dao Ruwai lowered his head and did not speak for a long while. I knew he might not take these words to heart, but I didn't care anymore. Father finally spoke enough. He looked at Dao Ruwai, his eyes full of disappointment. Ruwai, your reassignment is a settled matter. When you arrive in Yangzhou, do your job well, and don't make any more of a laughingstock of yourself. Dao Ruwai looked up abruptly. Father, are you really going to abandon me? Father was silent for a moment. It is not I who is abandoning you. It is you who have cut off your own path. After saying this, he looked at me, his gaze as if he suddenly realized I still had some use. Ruxian, there aren't many people left in the Dao family to rely on. I will select a suitable man for you to marry into the family. In the future, your husband will take the Dao surname and enter our genealogy, so he can uphold the Dao family's dignity. My heart feels cold as ice. He used to think of me as nothing more than a daughter, someone of no consequence. Now that his son has lost his standing, he wants me to hold up the Dao family's prestige once again. It turns out that, in his eyes, both son and daughter are merely pawns to be used or discarded. I lowered my head and bowed. Father, I shall obey your arrangements. Father thought I had submitted, but he does not know that I have already carved out my own path. The day Jiang Rumo was sent away, she caused quite a scene. She ran to Mother's courtyard, begging Mother to see her. Mother was busy tending to Dao Ruwai and did not come out. Dao Ruwai heard the commotion and tried to get up to go to her, but Mother held his hand down, her eyes filled with tears. My son, you are leaving for Yangzhou soon. If you continue to entangle yourself with Rumo, the rumors outside will only grow more malicious. Do you still want to lose your position as the Yangzhou Tongpan? Dao Ruwai stiffened. Even now, he still feels that his relationship with Jiang Rumo is innocent and pure. But he has already lost too much. His marriage prospect is gone, his promotion is gone, and his chance to remain in the capital is also gone. He is afraid of losing his only remaining official post, so he remains silent. Jiang Rumo cried out in the courtyard, Father, elder brother, you cannot abandon me. No one answered her. In the end, I felt she was making too much of a spectacle, so I went to the front courtyard myself. The moment she saw me, her eyes instantly turned red. Dao Ruxiang, it is all your fault. I replied indifferently. Jiang Rumo, the one who harmed you is not me. It is you yourself. She gritted her teeth. If you hadn't refused to give me the golden hairpin, how would elder brother have felt the need to stand up for me? I smiled. That was a golden hairpin given to me by grandmother. Grandmother has no ties to the Jiang family, and she does not like you. Her refusing to give it to you is only natural. Jiang Rumo's face turned pale. I continued. If you had kept to your place, Mother would dote on you, and elder brother would protect you. You could have lived quite well in the Dao family, but you insisted on stepping over me to get ahead. Now that you have brought this upon yourself, don't blame anyone else. She was so angry that tears started to fall. Don't be so smug. You won't always be the winner. I couldn't be bothered to listen further, and turned to instruct the wet nurse. Send Miss Jiang to the carriage. Father had given the order. Any belongings of the Dao family, Jiang Rumo was not allowed to take a single piece. She could only take the few old clothes she brought from the Jiang family, the jewelry Mother had gifted her over the years, the trinkets Dao Ruwai had given her, and the things she had snatched from me were all inventoried and sent back to the storehouse. Among them was a glazed lamp, which I received on my 10th birthday, a gift from Dao Ruwai. Later, Jiang Rumo took a liking to it, crying that she loved it. And Dao Ruwai said that since he was the one who gave it, he naturally had the right to take it back. Jiang Rumo got the lamp and smashed a corner of it right in front of me. He said he just wanted to see me sad. Back then, I was trembling with anger. Yet no one stood up for me now. That repaired glazed lamp is back in my hands. Though the cracks remain, I no longer care. It stopped being important a long time ago. Just then, the steward came rushing to report, Young Miss, the young Marquis of Zwanping Manor is here. I frowned. Duansu, what is he doing here? Duansu practically barged in. The servants could not stop him. As soon as he entered the courtyard, he went straight to Jiang Rumo. Rumo, are you alright? Jiang Rumo saw him, and her tears fell even faster. Young Marquis, you have finally come. Duansu shielded Jiang Rumo behind him and glared at me. Dao Ruxian, what are you trying to do to her? I looked at Jiang Rumo's hand gripping his sleeve and understood instantly. Duansu is a close friend of Dao Ruwai. In the past, Dao Ruwai often brought Jiang Rumo along on outings with his friends. It seems these two have had a connection for a long time. I said coldly, Father has issued an order to send Jiang Rumo back to the Jiang family. This is a private matter of the Dao family and has nothing to do with the young Marquis. Duansu sneered. You are merely bullying her by relying on your status as the legitimate daughter. A woman as narrow-minded as you, I would never marry. I couldn't help but laugh. Rest assured, young Marquis. A man who cannot distinguish right from wrong like you, I would never marry either. Duanzu's face darkened. Stop pretending, Rumo said. You kept my name card, clearly wanting to marry me. Only then did I remember that a few days ago, matchmakers had sent over many name cards and portraits. Duanzu's card must have been among them. Looking at him, I found it absurd. In the capital, marriages are always initiated by matchmakers sending cards. That day I received at least 8 or 10 cards. The Dao family has never replied to the Zhuanping manner. Where does the young Marquis get the confidence to think I have taken a fancy to you? Duansu was choked for words. Jiang Rumo immediately said softly, Sister, if you don't like the young Marquis, why did you destroy the silk and lanterns he gave me? I raised an eyebrow, so those items were gifts from Duansu. I calmly admitted, I did destroy those items. Duansu immediately roared, You admit it? I smiled. I destroyed those things. Not because I like you, but because Jiang Rumo destroyed my glazed lamp first. She destroyed something I treasured, so I destroyed something she treasured. An eye for an eye. Jiang Rumo's eyes turned red. I didn't. I couldn't be bothered to argue whether she did or not. You know the truth in your heart. Duansu naturally didn't believe me. Rumo would not do such a thing. On the contrary, it is you who is always bullying her. I looked at him. Young Marquis, what is it you actually want today? Duansu said every word clearly. I am taking Rumo away. I am going to marry her. Jiang Rumo's eyes lit up. I also smiled. That is perfect. The Dao family was about to send her back to the Jiang family anyway. If the young future son-in-law is willing to take her, it naturally makes things easier. Duanzu's face froze. I continued. However, the young Marquis should think clearly. Jiang Rumo's reputation is now damaged. Is the Zhuanping manor willing to let her enter? If you are merely making empty threats today, but dare not take her back to your manor, then stop showing off in the Dao family. Jiang Rumo gripped Duanzu's sleeve tightly. Young Marquis, the Dao family has no place for me anymore. Please take me away. Duanzu's heart softened at the sight of her. He gritted his teeth and said, Fine, if the Dao family won't have you, my Zhuanping manor will. I did not expose him. Whether the Zhuanping manor will have her or not is not for him to decide. When he left with Jiang Rumo, he even turned back to threaten me. Dao Ruxian, for bullying Rumo like this today, I will not let you off in the future. I acted as if I didn't hear him. Facts proved that Duanzu's threats were useless. The next day, the Marquis of Zhuanping personally brought Duansu to apologize. Duansu looked rebellious, but after a cold glare from the Marquis, he immediately lowered his head. The Marquis smiled politely. Yesterday my son was reckless and offended Miss Dao. I ask that the Grand Tutor does not blame him. Father naturally would not hold on to it. The two families shared a cup of tea in the main hall and brushed the matter aside. As for Jiang Rumo, Duansu ultimately didn't dare bring her back to the Zhuanping manor. He placed her in a separate residence for women in the capital, vowing repeatedly that he would convince his family. But the Marquis of Zhuanping quickly revoked his access to money and his travel tokens, and spread the word that if Duansu insisted on marrying Jiang Rumo, he would name his concubine-born son as the heir instead. Duansu finally dared not stir up trouble again. Jiang Rumo waited for a long time, but was eventually sent back to the Jiang family in Weikang. The day she left the capital, no one came to see her off. Dao Ruwai also left for Yangzhou soon after. Before he left, he came to see me. He stood under the veranda, looking much more haggard than before. Ruxiang. I stopped walking. He seemed to want to say something, but in the end, only whispered a question. Do you truly hate me? I looked at him. Hate is not the word for it. But from now on, you no longer need to be my brother. Dao Ruai's face turned white. I continued. You once destroyed my reputation in public for Jiang Rumo's sake. Now that you are sent away, you should understand what the flavor of rumors and their consequences taste like. This is not me harming you. It is you bringing this upon yourself. Dao Ruai remained silent for a long time, before finally turning away. After he left, the Dao family became much quieter. Mother's courtyard also turned desolate. She sent people to ask me over several times, saying she wanted to have a word with me, but I never went. When I needed mother, she was busy coddling Jiang Rumo. Now that I don't need her, her belated warmth has no meaning. As for father, he soon began selecting a son-in-law for me to marry into the family. He was afraid mother would ruin things, so he didn't even let her touch the name cards and portraits. In the end, he chose his favorite protege. The man's parents died early, and he was raised by his elder brother. His brother's family already had an heir, so they did not count on him to carry on the lineage. He himself had a bit of a literary reputation, and was willing to change his surname to marry into the Dao family. Father was very pleased, he said. Ruxiang, this man has great potential for the imperial examination. If he marries into our family, he will bring glory to the Dao family in the future. I listened and nodded gently. Father thought I had agreed. But just as he set an auspicious date and prepared to bring the betrothal gifts to the door, the betrothal gifts from the Prince of Duan arrived at the Dao mansion first. The Prince of Duan had requested to marry me. Father was stunned in the front hall, unable to collect his thoughts for a long while. He looked at the boxes of betrothal gifts being brought in, then looked at me. What is going on? I walked slowly from the inner courtyard, my expression calm. Father, the Prince of Duan has requested to marry me in all sincerity. You should agree to it. Father's expression changed instantly. He finally realized he had been outplayed by me. He wanted me to take a husband into the family, to continue the Dao family line. But I had never actually agreed to it. I simply hadn't refuted him, because what I was waiting for was this very moment. Father lowered his voice and roared. When did you get involved with Prince Duan? When was it? It was probably 3 years ago, during that visit to Heguo Temple. That year, Mother took us to Heguo Temple to offer incense. Dao Ruai and Jiang Rumo wanted to play a trick on me. They lured me to the mountain behind the temple. I accidentally fell into an abandoned trap left by a hunter. But they lied to Mother, saying I was being headstrong, and that I had returned to the manor first. Mother did not suspect a thing. She took everyone and returned to the city. No one came to look for me. I stayed in that trap until nightfall, trembling with fear. It was Prince Duan who passed by and saved me. At that time, I was covered in mud, in a truly pathetic state. He didn't laugh at me, nor did he reproach me. He simply handed his cloak to me and asked if I could still walk. Perhaps it was because that night was too cold, or perhaps his gaze was too gentle. I poured out all the grievances that I had kept hidden for so long. Father favors my elder brother. Mother favors Jiang Rumo. Dao Ruai steals my things and favors our foster sister. Jiang Rumo puts on a pathetic act and steps on me at every turn. After I finished speaking, I realized I had spoken out of turn. The private affairs of a court official's household. A prince should not get involved. Prince Duan did not rashly step in to stand up for me. He simply said, household matters are the hardest to resolve through outside force. If you wish to leave, you must first stand firm on your own feet. After that, he entrusted Princess Yuzhou to return the cloak to me, and I took the opportunity to thank the princess. Under that pretext, I sent a letter back. At first, it was just a formal exchange of pleasantries. Later, it developed into a regular exchange of letters. Prince Duan would not make decisions for me, but he would listen to what I had to say. He taught me how to read the political situation, how to keep evidence, and how to speak up at the right time. I gradually realized, to leave the Dao family, I cannot rely only on tears, nor can I rely only on endurance. I had to wait for the right moment. Before the banquet, I had vaguely sensed that Jiang Rumo and Dao Ruwa wanted to cause trouble using the gold hairpin. Jiang Rumo's maid had a loose tongue and revealed the clues early on. I didn't stop them. I simply had my close friends keep a watch and had someone remind Princess Yuzhou. If someone were to be impolite at the banquet, I asked her to protect her own reputation. If Dao Ruwai hadn't caused a scene, naturally nothing would have happened. But he insisted on making a scene. So he pushed himself into the public eye with his own hands. Prince Duan later told the Grand Princess the truth about the banquet. The Grand Princess, who already doted on her daughter, mentioned it a few times when she entered the palace. Upon hearing this, the emperor deemed Dao Ruwai's behavior inappropriate, and intentionally kept him in the capital for an important post. So Dao Ruwai being sent away to a post was not because Prince Duan harmed him. It was because he had narrowed his own path. I did not go into detail about these things to father. I just looked at father and said softly, "Father once said your daughter couldn't uphold the family honor. Now you want me to recruit a son-in-law to support the Dao family. But why should I?" Father's face turned livid. "You are a daughter of the Dao family." I smiled and said, "It is only when father needs me that you remember I am a daughter of the Dao family. But when I was bullied by Jiang Rumo, why didn't father remember that? When Dao Ruwai ruined my reputation in public, the first thing father asked was why I didn't stop him. Father, the Dao family's honor is too heavy. I cannot bear it. I only want to marry someone who is willing to protect me." Father was rendered speechless by my retort. Prince Duan is the emperor's own brother, of noble status, and he was sincere in his marriage proposal. Father dared not refuse. Nor did he have a suitable reason to refuse. He could only grit his teeth and accept the marriage. I became the Princess of Duan. On the day of my wedding, Mother came to see me in secret. She stood outside the door. Her eyes were red. "Ruxiang, I failed you in the past." I looked at her. If it had been a long time ago, and she had said this to me, I would have probably cried in her arms, but now, I simply bowed calmly. "Mother, please take care." Her tears finally fell. But I did not look back. The Dao family was like a web in the past. Father's favoritism. Mother's debt of guilt. My brother's self-righteousness. Jiang Rumo's tears. All of them were tangled around me. Now I have finally walked out. Prince Duan treats me very well.
He said that Prince Duan's manor is not the Dao family.
I don't need to concede everywhere, nor do I need to endure everything. I can have my own treasury, my own account books, and I can continue to associate with my old friends. For the first time, I knew. It turns out that when a woman marries, she doesn't necessarily have to go from one cage into another. It can also be a new path. News of the Dao family arrived from time to time later on. Father could no longer rely on Dao Ruwai. Dao Ruwai worked in Yangzhou. It didn't go well at first. In the capital, he relied on father's protection and had everything paved for him. Only when he arrived at his post did he realize he had to make every decision himself. I heard he suffered quite a bit. Later, he finally learned to lower his head and work, and finally stopped acting for others at every turn. However, it was difficult for his career to reach its former heights. After Jiang Rumo returned to the Jiang family, her life was far less glorious than it was in the Dao family. Duan Su initially sent her a few letters, but later he was restrained by the Marquis of Swamping. They gradually ceased all contact. No matter how much Jiang Rumo suffered, there was no one left who could, like before, support her and Dao Ruwai the way mother did, covering for their every mistake. He finally understood that when one is favored by others, taking it for granted is the most hollow form of confidence. Once that favoritism is gone, nothing remains. As for mother, she grew increasingly silent within the Dao household. Because of Dao Ruwai's downfall, father reopened discussions with the clan regarding an adoption of an heir. Only then did mother realize that when a person is no longer valued in their own home, how unbearable life truly becomes. I heard she often stayed awake weeping until dawn, and sometimes she would order servants to clean the courtyard where I used to live. But I never returned to stay there again. Father also sent people to the Prince Duan's estate, hoping I would speak a few words on behalf of the Dao family to help promote Dao Ruwai. I did not agree. I had my servants tell him. The Dao family has its own path, and Prince Duan's estate has its own path. In the past, father never stood up for me, so now do not expect me to protect the prestige of the Dao family. After that, father never sent anyone again. One time, Princess Yuzhou came to the Prince Duan's estate to visit me. She was still that same bright and unrestrained person. As soon as she saw me, she smiled and said, "Dao Ruxiang, you certainly know how to find peace and quiet." I poured her some tea. "After you called off the engagement, princess, have you ever regretted it?" She raised her brows. "Regret what?" "Someone like Dao Ruwai. If I had married him, I would only be asking for misery." Today he can humiliate you in public for the sake of Jiang Rumo. Tomorrow he could do the same to me for the sake of another. I am not living a bad life, so why should I choose to endure that kind of hardship? I couldn't help but laugh. Princess Yuzhou looked at me, then suddenly said seriously, however, "You are truly capable of enduring. If you had spoken up all those years ago, you wouldn't have had to suffer so much grievance." I lowered my head to look at the tea in my cup. At that time, I thought as long as I endured, the Dao family's reputation would remain intact. Only later did I realize, reputation is not something sustained by one person suffering grievances. If they don't care about their own dignity, I don't need to hold it up for them. Princess Yuzhou nodded. That is well said. From now on, if anyone bullies you, tell me directly. I, as princess, will stand up for you. I smiled and accepted. In the past, I didn't have many friends, because I was afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of outsiders knowing the shame of the Dao family. But now I can finally be myself with integrity, no longer needing to hide the scandals of Dao Ruwai and Jiang Rumo, nor making excuses for mother's favoritism. Later, one year, the Prince Duan accompanied me back to Heguo Temple to fulfill a vow. Mountain winds blew through the forest, with waves of pine trees rustling. I stood by that old trap on the back mountain, suddenly remembering myself from 3 years ago. At that time, I was covered in mud, sitting in that trap, thinking that no one would ever come to find me again. The Prince Duan stood by my side and asked, "Are you afraid?" I shook my head, not afraid anymore. He held my hand. That is good. I looked at the layers of eaves below the mountain, and suddenly smiled. Actually, I am very grateful for that one time. If it weren't for that time, I wouldn't have met you. The Prince Duan also smiled. I am also fortunate. If I had arrived one step later that day, I would have missed you. I didn't speak anymore, just held his hand tighter. Dao Ruwa and Jiang Rumo are trapped in a web of their own making, bound by themselves. Mother's favoritism for years finally cost her my affection. Father used me as a chess piece, but in the end I did not pave the way for the Dao family. And I have finally walked out of that web, no longer fighting for a single gold hairpin, no longer waiting for a sense of justice, and no longer longing for their late-coming affection. I have a new home, a new identity, and a new path. As for those old people and old matters of the Dao family, they are just like the trap on the back mountain of Heguo Temple. They once kept me trapped, but now I have already walked out.